Welcome to our weekly book review. Each week, I review a book I believe would be helpful to the general public and/or clinicians. I'm never paid to do the reviews. However, in some instances, I may receive a small commission if you purchase the item, which helps defray the cost of our podcast and providing the free educational videos. The cost to you, however, remains the same. Today, we're going to talk about DBT Made Simple, which if you've taken any of my DBT courses, you know I love this book. It's written by Sherry Van Dyke. The first part briefly covers the theory behind DBT and explains how it differs from a lot of the traditional therapy approaches that we learned in clinical courses. The second part focuses on strategies for individual client sessions and what a DBT therapist would do and what it might look like. Now, if you are not a DBT therapist, which you won't be by reading this book, you have to go through a whole lot more training, but you have a greater understanding about what a DBT therapist does so you can decide whether you want to pursue that course of training. The third section teaches the 4 core DBT skills: mindfulness, distress tolerance, emotion regulation, and interpersonal effectiveness. I know you've heard me talk about those frequently. So the book kind of goes like this. It starts out with DBT theory, and then it moves on to what you as the clinician or maybe as the individual need to know about changing behaviors and behavioral therapy in general. The next section is strategies for individual sessions, and then she really moves into practical tools that we can give clients for dealing with emotional dysregulation, starting with 7 mindfulness activities and a section on dealing with resistance or problems implementing daily mindfulness. And this is one of the first books that I found on mindfulness that actually addresses succinctly the problems that we face when we try to get clients to implement mindfulness practices on a daily basis. Then it moves on to techniques for reducing emotional reactivity, specifically eliminating cognitive and physical vulnerabilities. And she introduces in this point the 3 states of mind: your wise mind, your rational mind, and your emotional mind. Then she moves on to providing information about distress tolerance skills and ways to reduce painful emotions. Following this, she goes into increasing positive emotions because, you got to put something. If you get rid of the negative, you got to increase the positive. Goal setting and building mastery so people have a greater sense of personal empowerment and confidence. She wraps up the book with interpersonal effectiveness skills, including how to ask for what you need and balancing enjoyable activities with responsibilities. Now, my favorite parts of this book are the fact that it contains worksheets and sample cases to help a therapist get started. I really think this is a better book for a therapist as opposed to someone who is trying to figure out how to deal with their own emotional dysregulation. But it is a really excellent introduction to dialectical behavior therapy. It doesn't make you a DBT practitioner, I want to say that again, but it did open my mind to a new way of approaching clients struggling with emotional dysregulation. It's an excellent resource to be used in conjunction with Dialectical Behavior Therapy Skills Workbook by Matthew McKay, which is also a new Harbinger publication, or the DBT Skills Training Handouts and Worksheets by Marsha Linehan, and that is put out by Guilford Press. I hope you enjoyed this book review. Please feel free to go online, look this book up. It's DBT Made Simple. There is a Google preview, and see if it might be something that would be helpful to add to your repertoire.